Strawberries, cherries, and an angel's kiss in spring. My summer wine is really made from all these things.
I walked in town on silver spurs that jingle too, a song that I had only sang to just a few.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another embroidery video. Now this hoop is inspired by, well, my nan's house. I remember having a lot of decor in these colours when I was little, like crazy mosaic style, like carpets and cushions with, you know, this type of embroidery. And I actually found some of this thread in a charity shop and I saw the colours and I just thought this would be a great opportunity to show you how you can use different types of thread, different wool, I guess, and yeah, create something really cool. So here we go. Now I'm just showing you what I'm using for this project. We're going to need our scissors, we're going to need our needle and our iPad, just for reference, and we're going to need our hoop, and we're going to need our fabric, and then the threads that you're going to want to use. So yeah, this is the one that I found. Look how rich and yummy this colour is. I just love it. Love, love, love it. I wish my hair was this colour. So this is how I find a bit of inspiration. I go onto Pinterest and then I pick an image that I like, and then if you scroll down from that image you'll find a lot more photos that are kind of relevant to your style then. And so yeah, I'm going to be using some embroidery floss like this one, and then I'm going to be using some of this more chunky wool, I guess. So here I am, I'm just drawing on the design. Now again, try and do everything freehand because you're just doing it all yourself then. It's just a lot more liberating. And this is just like teardrop shapes here. Nothing interesting really, nothing too hard. Just practice on a scrap of paper before you do it. And as you can see, mine are not perfect, but I can go in afterwards and just, you know, make sure they all match a bit better. So I've done one large flower, which I think is quite iconic of that kind of 60s style. And also in folk embroidery, this is a very, very common type of flower to do. And now I'm going in and I'm using a flower that I use quite a lot, and it looks quite fancy but it's super simple. You're kind of just doing the same shape with different sizes 4 times, and then you put your little circle in the middle, and then just do the same again but a bit smaller. And again, please don't do it perfectly because flowers are not perfect. This is what they actually look like. And then I'm going to do some leaves because I'm addicted to them. And on this one, again, I'm just doing a straight line, and then I'm doing just 2 identical little shapes on each side, like teardrops. And again, please don't do them perfectly because it looks weird if it's perfect, if you ask me. And yeah, I'm just making that a bit longer, so I'm happy with that. And then I'm kind of just thinking, what else does it need? And then whenever you can, always add greenery. I just think it makes it look so much better. So if I've just done a flower, then as you can see, I've just added the leaf bit and the stem because it will just go really nicely for me, I think. I'm adding another one there. Simple oval shapes for the leaves. Just keep it nice and simple, and I add the lines just as reference as to where I'm going to go back in the middle for that leaf stitch. And then I'm doing another one here. I think it will frame it really nicely having the both, and I'm probably going to do them both in different colours. So you're basically doing exactly the same thing, but because you're doing it in a different colour, it just looks more interesting. And then just add some little flowers here and there. Really simple shape. You can, of course, you can always use a water-soluble pen. I recently got gifted one and I've been using it recently, but again, I've been finding I've been drawing the design, washing it off, and then drawing it again because I haven't been happy. And I added a few little dots. Dots are a great way to get some of those French knots in there just to add a bit more detail. But in my last video I was showing you the easy way to do them, so you don't even have to panic about that. There we go. I think I'm happy with that. I think so. That is good. Here's a closer look. Feel free to hit the space bar to freeze the video, so then you can like just literally copy. You could put your fabric over the top of your laptop and trace over it as well if you wanted to, but please try and do it yourself because it just feels so good when you do. So I'm getting some of the thread and I'm just looking what goes where, what am I feeling. I will often swap around quite a few times. That's why it's quite good to buy like a load of thread whenever you see it for cheap, because you know you have the option then. Now this is like a really big fat needle and I think it's a tapestry needle, and that's what I'm going to need for this because this is like really chunky and I would not get it through a normal needle. So it's a bit more faffy, but it also covers a lot more space, so you're not doing as many stitches. So I literally couldn't wait to start this one with this thread. So remember, we can't wash this type of pen off, so what we want to do is go a bit further outside of the line, so we're definitely covering up the you know, the drawing mark that we've made. So, and I'm going on the outside and then I'm going to go into the center, and I'm just going to keep doing that until I've filled up the space and I'm happy with it. That's how it should look on the back. And yeah, you might get like a few little knots with this, but they usually are quite easy to get out. It's just because it's long, you know, it's quite thick fabric, I mean thick thread. So yeah, it's just like a bit of a learning curve, but honestly I would really recommend working with this because you don't do as many stitches and the texture just makes the stitch look so much more interesting. So I'm just going to continue with this, and that's all I'm doing for the whole of this flower basically. Now as this is like a teardrop shape for the petal, remember you can go outwards, and then when you're coming in you can kind of tuck it underneath the other stitches, so you're kind of getting that really nice shape. And always remember to leave enough to do your knot at the end. Now some people choose not to do it this way. This is literally, like I've said before, I just taught myself how to do it, and this is how I've always done it and probably always will. If it's the correct way, I don't really know, but this is how I've done it, and my hoops seem to stand the test of time really well. So there you go, I've done a couple more now, and just look at the colour, I love it. Yeah, it's quite nice and tidy at the back as well if you do, you know, if you do tie it up like the way that I do. Not that it looks bad messy, it's just, you know, it just seems a bit more nice. Look at me, look how fast I go. Oh my gosh, I wish I did go this fast. So yeah, I'm just getting it done, and it really didn't take that long to do this one. Again, because it covers up so much space. But yeah, you definitely need that like tapestry needle. Yeah, I'm just going in and out, as I think the white inside the flower, it just adds more dimension and texture. Now, you don't have to do all of this with the type of thread I'm using. You can just use embroidery thread. I just thought it was a great opportunity to show the different types that you could use. That's the end bit. If you see, I think it looks nice. And so now on to the next section. I'm just getting this one. I think this is a really nice rich colour and it'll go really well. So I'm going to start doing kind of like the leaves now. Remember to just get your thread and put it up to your hoop and just see if you think it's going to work. So I'm just using a regular needle here, as this, even though it's not traditional embroidery thread, it's actually a lot thinner. It's a bit more difficult to work with, but again, it's not too bad once you get used to it. So this is a really good technique. Drag the needle along the back of the fabric and then you can see where you need to go. Like, there's no guessing then. You're gonna get it right. And you'll just keep doing this every time that you stitch, and it's just a really, well, the much more accurate way to make sure you're getting the needle in at the right place. Now this is where last month's tutorial comes in handy, as this will really help you with this. We're just kind of, you know, doing the same as what we did last time, really. So we're just filling that in, and I'm going to do that on the other side, and then obviously we have the stem to do, and that will just be a really simple kind of like run-in stitch. And there you go, that's all done now. I think it looks really nice and the colours go really well together. Again, remember, you could choose to just use normal embroidery thread for this and it would work just as well. Yeah, so what I'm probably going to do now is use some normal embroidery thread to give it a good mix. And I'm going to go in with this really nice kind of like gold colour. And I'm going to do the flower. So remember, start a little bit outside of the line that you've drawn, just to make sure that we're covering it up, and then I want to go to that part there. See where that line is? And I'm going to go in and out like we've done before, just kind of filling in all of that section. Don't worry if you go into the other line too much, because that's absolutely fine. It'll work out all okay, because you're going to be using another colour there anyway. And there it all is. So that middle bit, we're going to use another colour. Now, this is a colour that I'm going to use. I think it's a good contrast and goes with all of the palette really, really well. So I'm going to fill this in now. Right now, all that's done, I'm going to add some of my quick and easy way to do French knots, and I'm using this in another colour that I think goes quite well. This is just to add a bit more dimension to the flower, and then you can leave it like this, but I felt like this one needed some of the colour being brought back through to the gold bit, so I think I'm going to add that in when I finish doing the French knots. Here you can see, well, you can't see too well here. It's really difficult to actually do embroidery and hold the hoop at an angle because you kind of naturally want to do it more on your lap. But what I'm doing is I'm kind of getting that colour and I'm just going through some of the gold sections, going forwards and back, always keeping it going towards the centre. So now I'm ready to go on to the next one. I've used another kind of warmish colour and I'm just doing exactly what I did on the other one. This is a great way to kind of look like you're doing more work than what you are by just using different colours. And with this one, it was just really nice and relaxing to do because all the hard work's done for you, just following the lines, going round and round. Just remember to kind of keep the reference of keeping all of the stitches going towards the middle, because you can kind of lose your way a bit if you stop thinking, but just remember that it all wants to be pulled towards the middle, the direction of the stitches. And here I am just kind of finishing it up here. I use this type of flower quite a lot, and if you do it on a really big scale, it can look so cool. So yeah, it's definitely one to remember, and you can experiment with, I've used 2 colours here for this actual flower, but you could literally use 3 to 5 to 6 colours. You're doing it on a really big one and you're going to get some crazy detail, and it would almost like an ombre effect, and it looks amazing. So now I'm going to use this gorgeous gold. Can you tell this is like one of my favourite colour palettes? So I'm going to use this now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and do some of these sweet little flowers. I'm doing exactly the same technique that we did on the large one. Now on the smaller ones it can be a bit more faffy, but practice makes perfect with this. I've seen many people just do a whole hoop covered in flowers like this, with a really nice colour tone, and yeah, it's really effective. Like, this is the thing, all of these little stitches, you could literally just take this flower and just do this over and over and you'll have a stunning hoop. So I'm just hoping, any of these things could be, used and just multiplied over and over and, create a really interesting piece by themselves. So yeah, I'm just going outwards and inwards. There you go, you can see it. Remember to cover over that kind of, our drawing, that's the important thing. And I've just sped it up because I feel like you should know this bit, but if not, remember you can always take it back and have a look. And I'm going to be doing the same thing with the rest of these small little flowers also. So I went in and I did another one next to it, and a really nice colour, which I think will go nicely with it. So yeah, I'm going to go and do another gold one up at the top. and I felt like it needed a much darker colour in here, only a little bit. So I've kind of used this really warm, rich brown colour. And now I'm going to show you how to use some of the metallic thread. Now, I've got to be honest with you, I've used this thread in a big way in some other hoops, and I can tell you it is difficult. It's so difficult. I don't use it that much as I'd like to, because it's so hard to work with. So remember, when you're doing a knot with this, you want to do a really hard one, because it will try and come out of that knot. It really will, after a period of time. Now, for this one, I'm just going to use it for the center of a flower, just to kind of just add that detail. So remember, if you keep doing all the stitches going into the center like we have on these flowers, it can be really hard to push a needle through there. So it's going to take some time, and you're going to have to wiggle it through. And now with this thread, you want to make sure you give yourself loads of length of the thread to be able to do this knot, and don't rush it, because this metallic thread will want to get tangled and ruin your day. So you see I've pulled it through there, and then I'm going to need to kind of tuck it behind it. This can take some time also. But if you're really struggling with the metallic thread, what I would advise is to work with 3 strands, not the full 6 strands, or even 2, because it is difficult. Like, people who've been doing embroidery for a long time, they will not go near it, because it's just hard. So, but anyway, so I'm going to go in and do some of my little fake French knots here for the dots, which are nice and simple and easy. I've used 2 different colours. The one that I'm using right now is kind of like an orangey colour. There you go, nice and simple. Tie them up at the back, cut it off, and there I am. I'm doing the other ones. There's 3. I did 3. So you just go around, we make a knot, make sure we put our needle on there, pull it tight, and then hide it behind the knot we just did. There we go. Okay, so I'm just looking at what colour I want to do for this, and there we go, I did it. It's actually the same as the other side, just making sure that I'm covering those lines. And we can do quite long stitches when you're working on a hoop. Now, because I work on clothes a lot now, having this luxury of doing big long stitches like this, it's just blissful. Whereas if you're working on clothes, say something on here that would take maybe 5 stitches, would probably take 15 small little stitches if you're working on clothes. So yeah, it's a really great fun and kind of liberating thing to do on a hoop. So I'm just going to keep going with this. And there it is. How cute! I'm really happy with this colour. So, and then I went ahead and I did this. Now, I hope you don't mind that I didn't film this bit in great detail, but I feel like we touched on it last time pretty well. And it's just a simple leaf kind of stitch that I've shown you, and then the stem. And just remember, you're covering your pen marks. And here's me doing the other one. You can see a bit better here. I'm putting the needle in, and then I'm going back to where I was, and I just hide it underneath. Here we go. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because we are not perfect. Flowers are not perfect. There you go. Pretty simple and really effective little stitch. And on here, you remember we can start on the outside, go back in. And then underneath, we're going to go to the other side of the leaf. And then we're going to go back into that middle. I'm going to keep doing that till it's complete. And now is, I think it's the last bit now, we're going to do the middle section of that flower. For this one I kind of used a lighter colour, so that's what I like to do with flowers. I'd like to use, usually actually I'd always use a dark colour on the outside and a light colour on the inside. I just what I do, just from references of looking at flowers myself again. And you see I'm just going back and forth. Remember doing that stitch in the centre and then going out to that line and then back in, and I'm just repeating this over and over. Remember to get in those little gaps as well. See, I'm about halfway done there, and it just gives a really nice effect. There we go, I've done it. It's all done. I really liked how that one came out. And now what I'm doing is I'm going to back my hoop, I guess. So this is just simple. I did a big chunky knot and then I go in and out all around the fabric like we did in the last one. I decided to use this blue because I feel this is very like 60s. Like they would often just have like a pop of colour. So I thought this is nice to have this on the back. A little surprise. So I just go in and out all the way around, nothing fancy, and there we go. Now with this one I did leave a bit more fabric, so I'm using some little scissors just to cut off the excess. I don't want to use big ones because I'll probably make a mistake. We are doing embroidery, so it's not like we're in any rush, is it? We're going to go round, and guys, it's done. It's done. There she is. I hope you really enjoyed this one. If you have any requests what you want to learn in next month's one, please message me and I'd love to help you out. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I cannot wait to see what you guys think. Please tag me on Instagram and enjoy. So yeah.